Would it really even be considered a proper update day if I wasn't a day late? Exactly. Hey everyone, this is Syntax, and today we are taking a look at update version 20.20 for Fortnite Creative. I've pretty much already checked out everything that Epic has to offer with this update, so I'm just going to spend this time showing you some of the stuff that I came up with and just giving my overall opinion, I guess. Anyway, let's take a look at all the stuff, because there's a lot to get through. When you first load up Creative and go over to your little island selection thingy, if you load up the temperate islands, I'm pretty sure they added like a couple, because I don't remember a how to build in Creative island being here, but I could be totally wrong. You'll also notice that if you hit create new, there is now a Greasy Grove POI island, which we'll be getting into in just a second. As of right now, I actually want to take a sec to show off some of the new prefabs and galleries. If you go ahead and open your creative menu, go over to galleries, select recently added, you will see that they have added the Chonkers Speedway Nature Gallery, the Chonkers Speedway Prop Gallery, and the Gas Station Gallery B. Now, just like the recent addition of all the new IO stuff with the Covert Cavern and the Blimp galleries, this gallery has a lot of new props. If you take a sec to look around, you can see there's a ton of new posters, TVs, couches, beds, chairs. There's just a whole plethora of new props. Like, look at this. We have a Traeger grill now for whatever reason. But yeah, all the props in this gallery are extremely good, and now we have a lot more to work with, so there's nothing to complain about. Inside the nature gallery, there are some repeat props. Like, I'm pretty sure we have some of these cacti, but like these ones, we don't have these ones. Or at least we didn't have these ones, but now we do. I'm pretty sure some of the trees are the same, but any gallery that gives us any form of new props is always a good thing. Now, for whatever reason, the Gas Station Gallery B is just the building pieces, so to access the props, you have to open the prefab. If you tab over to prefabs and select recently added, you can see that there is the Spillex gas station, and upon opening it, you will see all the props that are for whatever reason not included in the gallery. Initially, I thought they did this because all of the props in this gas station can be found in Chonkers, but like, I'm pretty sure this sign thing can't be, and there's a handful of other props that you can't find there too. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if it's in two locations, because when there are new prefabs and galleries, you should be checking them both anyway, because Epic does like to hide props inside the prefabs that we wouldn't have access to otherwise if we were just scrolling through the galleries. Anyway, in summary, these galleries are sick. Yes, there are some repeat props inside of them, but like the amount of new props is just so overwhelming that it really doesn't even matter. Oh yeah, there's also a new shotgun called the Ranger shotgun, which is like the heavy, but I think it's not a slug. Anyway, moving on, let's take a look at what is probably my favorite thing about this update, which is the Greasy Grove POI island. Now, am I going to enjoy everyone and their mother making Greasy Grove themed zone wars for the next couple of weeks? No, I'm not. However, upon loading up the island, you will notice that this is the Chapter 3 Greasy Grove, which means it has all the Chapter 3 props that we wouldn't have access to otherwise. And yes, while Epic didn't add a Chapter 3 Greasy prefab or a gallery, you can actually come into this island and take whatever props you want. I've actually taken the time to go through the Chapter 3 version of Greasy and gather some of my favorite props that I've found. You can see there's a whole bunch of new chairs and lamps, and we have a whole printer. Like, look at this thing. There are so many new pieces of furniture, from tables to couches to bookshelves to mirrors on the wall and like different styled toilets. There's a bunch of different types of grills, a couple different kinds of mailboxes. Like I said earlier, there's a bunch of different tables. There's new benches. There's a whole bunch of new boxes. I guarantee there's like at least 10 different styles of boxes just within this Greasy. And look at this. We got a new trash bag. Who would have thought we needed a new trash bag? We've got new light poles and new signs. There's a stop sign, and I think there's actually a bicycle sign over here. Like, look at this stuff, man. There's new roofs and walls and pillars and fences and guardrails and bordering pieces. There's just so many new things that you could probably spend up to an hour in here just gathering pieces and taking them over to another island. My personal favorite thing about all the new structures is that this column can be found in 3 different heights without having to do any resizing, which means the brick texture doesn't get stretched at all, which is just, it's amazing. It's so good. But yeah, when you take into consideration all the different archways and walls and bordering pieces that we can now use, there are some incredible structures that we can build that will be extremely refreshing because we didn't have these pieces before. So yeah, I strongly advise taking a few minutes going through Greasy, actually looking at all the new building pieces and the new props and deciding where you might want to use them in future maps, because there's too many good ones to count. Anyway, now that we've got all of the prefab / structural stuff out of the way, let's take a look at the new devices. If you go ahead and tab over to devices and select recently added, you will see that there is a whole bunch of new devices. I think it's like 6 total or 7? 6 or 7 new devices. It's ridiculous. The first thing I want to show you guys is the new VFX Creator, because the amount of customizability in this device alone is more than all the other devices combined. And I mean that. Upon opening the device and scrolling through all of the device options, you can see just how many options we have, from customizing the color to customizing the shape of the item that's going to be popping up. We can customize the amount of effect that actually shows up. We can customize the gravity on the effect, the speed of the effect, the rotation alignment of the effect. We can change the size of the effect. We can change how often it spawns. We can decide if we want the effect to loop or not. We can choose the shape of the zone in which we want the effect to spawn. We can choose the size of that zone, and we can stick the effect, whatever effect we create, to players, which is insane. And not only that, but we have an option to put it on their head, in the center of their body, on their feet, or on their weapon. So 4 different ways to stick custom effects onto players. And in case you're having a hard time visualizing what that looks like, I actually have a couple of super simple effects set up here. If I just go ahead and flick this switch, you can see that now I have this sort of aura of hearts around me. So if I had a healing zone on my map that when I stepped into it, I wanted to gain health, I could throw this effect on whatever player steps in that zone, and they will know visually that they are healing. I mean, besides the obvious increasing of the health on the health bar, they would have a visual effect on the player. Also, in case you're wondering what on earth these are, we have 3 new Switch models, so that's what they are. Anyway, with this second effect, I went ahead and gave myself a white glow and had myself surrounded in electricity, so I sort of have this, I mean, it's an electric aura, but like, you get the idea, right? There's just a bunch of customizability. For this next effect, I just wanted to apply a sort of pink, glowy, drippy effect to the player's weapon. So you can see when I turn this on, now my pickaxe has this sort of pink contrail to it. If I walk backwards, you can see that it just kind of follows my hand and it's attached to my weapon. This, of course, is also the case with the actual weapons in the game. Anytime I have this out, it is going to be attached to this shotgun. Anyway, this last effect that I have set up is meant to be more of a joke. I attached this sort of like flame to my head, this very aggressive flame. And you know, while this may be a joke, I mean, it's pretty great. You can't deny that. But yeah, when you take into consideration all of the different factors we have control over, whether it's where it's attached to on the player, the size, the shape, how frequently it spawns, the amount of different combinations in terms of effects you can create, it's insane. I'll probably end up making a separate video about some of the coolest combinations you can make with this thing, because like I said, there's just so many different combinations and so many different possibilities that it's just too much to cover right now. Anyway, moving on, if you take a look under the recently added devices tab, you will see that we also now have the water device. And now this triggered by water setting on the trigger is no longer arbitrary. Anyway, the water device does pretty much exactly what you think it would do. It allows you to create your own custom body of water. Now this thing is great because you can choose the amount of area the water occupies, and then you can choose how fast you want to fill said area. The default vertical water percentage is going to determine how high your water sits in relation to the water height. So 0% is always just going to be 0, but if this was 1% on 20 and 1% on like 15, that's going to be different. Anyway, you can then choose how fast you want it to fill or empty said area, which I have 5 BPM for both. And then if you scroll down even further, you can see a whole bunch of settings associated with the starting, stopping, and resuming of the area the water occupies. It should also be noted that you can send signals on both players entering and exiting the water, which is absolutely insane. And then of course you can also send signals when it's done filling or done emptying. If we go ahead and see what that looks like, I have this switch hooked up to the water device on, I'm pretty sure, channel 9, and when I flick it, the area that the water occupies is just going to start rising until it reaches where it needs to go. But yeah, this device basically just allows for you to create a fully functional body of water that you can send signals to and from in a multitude of different ways. And with that, we are on the last device that is not considered a weapon. The video player allows us to pretty much play a bunch of custom preset videos. In short, for now, this thing is just a screen that, like I said, it plays videos and it has different presets, and you can also change the shape of it. Look at that. I turned it into a circle. But yeah, we can customize the shape of this and the volume and the attenuation distance and the stream priority, which I'm not really sure what that does. We can also turn off collision and set an interaction time for whatever reason. And altogether, there are 6 different videos that we can pick from that you can just set up in your map and watch with your friends if you want to. And of course, we can't forget about all of the new artillery in this update. Even though the initial cost of a tank is 11,000, it's fantastic. I mean, come on, it's a tank. What is there not to love? Being almost equally as expensive is the mounted artillery cannon at just over 10.5 4,000 memory. If you're planning on using these in any of your maps, you just can't have any aesthetic memory at all. You're just not allowed to have it. The mounted anti-vehicle turret is actually a little bit less expensive at just over 4,000 memory, but still, these things are so much memory. And of course, all these devices do have their own settings, but I just genuinely couldn't care less about them, so I'm not gonna look at them. But yeah, vehicle turrets does a solid job. So yeah, anyway, aside from some of the old bugs that got fixed and all of the new bugs that I'm sure have been added, that is pretty much everything there is content-wise. And if it's not, then like always, I'm sure you'll let me know. Anyway, guys, there you have it. That is update version 20.20. Probably one of the best updates for content that we've had in Creative for quite some time. I already know there's a handful of bugs with vehicles and other stuff right now, but if you just take the update for what it is and all of the new content we got, it's a fantastic addition to the game. Just between the VFX Creator, the Greasy POI, tanks, and all of the new prefabs and galleries, it's a fantastic update, and all of the extra stuff that I didn't just mention just makes it that much better. But anyway, that is everything I have for you guys today. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, this has been Syntax. Later.